Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the sacral plexus and just kind of how things runs or how things move inside the pelvis and how they exit and how everything's kind of oriented. Okay, so let's start with just what the sacral plexus is. We know it runs from L4 to S4. Okay, um, and we already know from the lumbar plexus that L4. Actually, let's do this. L4 to L5 is your lumbosacral trunk. Alright? And then this is how I remember it. Alright? But let's say it's going to start at the very beginning. So we're going to start with L4. And they come in threes. So L4 to S1. L4, L5, S1, 3. So if we, I call this a toilet plexus, honestly. Because I think of the motion of just going to wipe your butt. Just to put it in layman's terms. And I don't know why, it just stuck. But if you start from the top, right, you're going to start at your superior glute because you got to bring your hand back. You're going to be at the superior gluteal nerve. Okay, you come down and you're going to add one. All right, you're going one step down. So L5 to S2 is your inferior gluteal nerve. Okay. If you go below your butt, what's next? Your thighs, the back of your thigh. So one step down, S1 to S3. That is going to be your posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, right? And then we're going to do one step more down. And it's going to be S2 to S4. It's going to be your pudendal. And that's the area between your genitals and your anus, okay? So if you're having difficulty figuring out what the sciatic goes to, what spinal levels it comes from, the way I think about it is if you don't wipe well, right, your pudendal is going to stink, all right? And the sciatic knows that, and he's like, hey man, you stink, I'm not messing with you. So he's like, I'm just going to mess with the other guy. So he's just going to go from L4 to S3. So that's L4 to S3. And that's why I call it the toilet plexus or the bathroom plexus, whatever you want to call it. If you want to use another word, you can. But that's that, right? So let's swing on this way, and I'm just going to draw a pelvis real quick. But start with the sacrum, kind of look triangle looking. Then we're going to do the spinal column. And this motherfucker kind of looks like a butterfly, so we'll do that. And then main thing is I want you guys to know that you have two foramens here, right? You have your greater sciatic foramen and your lesser sciatic foramen. Alright, so we got those two out of the way. And another landmark I want you to remember is, so let's actually draw your femur real quick. Okay, cool. I don't know what he's got going on, but he has something going on. But your piriformis come here and it's going to attach like that way. And I just want you to remember that fat guy is there, okay? Because it's a pretty good landmark that we should probably know. But out of your greater sciatic foramen, right, you have a couple things that come out. Okay, you're going to have your superior gluteal, your inferior gluteal, your obturator. Well, actually, erase that. You have your nerve to obturator internus, your nerve to quadratus femoris, right? And your pudendal. Okay? And those come out of the greater sciatic foramen. Oh, let me write that. Foramen. There we go. I'm sorry, I missed the big one. Your sciatic also comes through here. Okay, so these are the ones that come out, right? Your superior gluteal is going to come out this greater, it's going to come out, right? But it's going to come out superiorly to the piriformis, and that's going to start innervating the muscles that are kind of like over here in this area. Okay. Below that, you're going to have your inferior. Well, let's do that in a different color. Actually, you have your inferior coming out this way. All right. And then your pudendal does something a little different. All right. It's going to exit here, and then it's going to turn around and be like, nah, I want to go this way. And so he comes out this way. He comes back in through the lesser sciatic foramen. So he goes back. All right. What else do we got over here? Your sciatic, that big boy, it's going to come out below the piriformis, and it's going to travel just down the leg, right? If this was a little more this way, you'd see how this all works. But I have it all spaced out. But actually, we'll move it. Sure. It travels posteriorly behind the femur. Okay? And then I'll just erase this. Boom. There we go. It's gone. But it does that. Alright? And I'll talk about the sciatic a lot more. Okay? But let's stick to here. Then you have your nerve to obturator and your nerve to quadratus. And those guys also pop out kind of like here and here. Alright? But that's what's going on there. But let's talk about the sciatic. Because that one does a lot of stuff. It goes over. Actually, you know what? We're going to take a step back and we're going to talk about a few nerves that aren't included in here but are kind of in this area. But we're going to write them over here. Yeah, let's do that. So you have what's called your cluneal nerves. I don't know if you guys remember these or not, but you have your superior, middle, and inferior cluneal nerves. Now the cool thing about these guys is these two are coming from the dorsal rami. Most of the nerves we talked about so far are all coming from the ventral rami. These two come from the dorsal rami. This inferior cluneal actually comes from the posterior femoral cutaneous. Okay, and then if we go in order here, the superior is from L1 to L3. This middle one is S1 to S3. And this inferior is just S2 to S3. And that's going to be your cluneal nerves. That's where those guys come from. But how that's at all relevant, right? So I'm going to draw a butt, okay? And it's going to, there we go. Oh, it's a terrible butt. Okay. But let's erase some of this. There we go. Terrible butt, but you get the point, okay? Your superior is going to kind of innervate this part. Your inferior is going to innervate this part. Or your middle is going to innervate this part. And then your inferior is going to innervate this part, right? So that's how that innervation works. And these are cutaneous branches. These are cutaneous nerves. And that's what they're innervating. Because your posterior femoral only kind of does the back of the thigh. And there's nothing really innervating your buttocks region. But that's what it's doing there. But let's go back over here. Alright. So here we're at the sciatic, okay? So it's going to travel down your thigh. I think I did a previous video about this. Yeah, I did. So it's going to innervate kind of here, here, here. And it's going to come down the foot, come down the leg, and then it's going to split into two at the knee, right? Then you have your tibial and your common perineal. This common perineal is going to split twice. Your deep and your superficial. Okay. Now, this tibial and this common perineal are going to make what's called your sural nerve. Now, your sural nerve is when these two meet and then they become its own thing, right? But this one and this one have their own name. This tibial one is the medial cutaneous sural. Not sure if I got that name in the right order, but that's what it is. And this common perineal is going to be your lateral cutaneous sural. Okay, and that is that. But this tibial one is going to continue and do some things, alright? It's going to split in two, and it's going to be and this is after it passes the malleolus of the ankle, and it starts getting into the actual ankle. But this is where it becomes your medial and your lateral plantar nerves. Okay, and that's kind of on the dorsal or the plantar aspect of your foot. But that is the sciatic nerve. And I believe I've talked about everything. But those are kind of the nerves and how they come out here in the pelvis. But yeah, if you guys have anything you want me to talk about, just let me know. Oh, actually, let's go back. Let's go to the cutaneous innervations. All right. So we're going to draw the. Here we go. Oh, that's terrible. Let me do this again. Erase that. There we go. All right. So we're going to draw a leg. Okay. I'm going to draw. This guy has some skinny calves. Oh no, they're pretty thick. Never mind, I lied. Alright, and then he has your foot, and this is looking at it posteriorly. And big toe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, he has messed up pinky toe, but it's okay. And then, so you guys can see it, that's kind of your butt, and then we go like that. Okay. So your cluneal nerves, right? Your cluneal nerves are going to kind of do, let's see, we do those three. Maybe your superior right there, your middle, and your inferior, right? So superior cluneal, your middle cluneal, and then your inferior cluneal. There we go. Here, I'll just finish the words for all of them. Boom. Okay. Right? And so we got to remember too that this part right here, well, let's use a different color. Let's do red. This top part, and it's a little piece, that is going to be your iliohypogastric. And if you remember from the previous video I made, right, we come all the way over here, that is this guy right here. The one that I say kind of goes laterally and posteriorly, that's your iliohypogastric. And it's kind of innervating. Ooh, where do we go? Ah, here we go. And it's innervating that part right there. Your lateral thigh is kind of coming in here, and it's your lateral femoral cutaneous. Right? Here we'll have a little piece that you can kind of see of the obturator. right? And then this posterior thigh, this area kinda, let's use a different color. We'll do pink. This part right here is your posterior femoral cutaneous. Okay, and so let's come down here, right? So your saphenous, we know, runs kind of medially. So your saphenous is going to be this part right here, right? And your saphenous nerve kind of innervates. It's going to innervate the medial side of your leg, but it does have a little bit of the posterior medial aspect and then the anterior medial aspects of the leg. So it's the lower leg is split between the sural nerves and the saphenous nerves. If we come in here, there's a little section here. Oh, different color. Let's do green. Right? This section here is going to be your medial serocutaneous. And then we're going to have your lateral serocutaneous. Right? And then this back part, that's your heel. Okay? That's going to be innervated by some of the tibial nerve or branches from it. And then here, we're going to have medial plantar innervation cutaneously. So medial plantar nerve. And then this right side, we'll make it pink. This right side is going to be your lateral plantar cutaneous. Okay. And those are the cutaneous branches. Do I have it here? No, I don't. That's basically how that works. That's kind of posteriorly what it looks like. And then I didn't do it over here, but we'll go ahead and do it just to knock that out of the park. But this dorsal aspect of your foot, majority of that or all of that is going to be from the superficial perineal nerve. It's cutaneous branches at least. And then between your big toe, I can't remember what I said it was your big toe in the last video, but I'm going to say this is your big toe. Or this right here is your big toe. There's a little triangle, or the space between your second and your first has some cutaneous innervation from the deep perineal nerve. But that should wrap up just to complete this one. This is going to be your lateral sural cutaneous. Okay. But that covers the cutaneous branches, cutaneous innervations for the anterior and posterior leg. But yeah, that's what I got. It's a little messy, but there's a lot of stuff that kind of comes through here. But that's all I have. Thanks.